That's what we wanted to show you. When we say begin with the end in mind, we wanted you to see what that end looks like because it's what we've achieved. And to talk about that and how we got there, we're going to bring up a few people and have some discussions so you can hear it directly from them. So you can see that this was not a journey that the food show took on its own, but it was a collective process. And the first person I would like to invite up is a true and dear friend in this network and body of work that we're doing. I admire this young lady so very much. She actually got her start here at Interfaith Food Shuttle many years ago, and she went on to expand her career at the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina in the development world and became one of the best in the nation at what she does. And she later got recruited up to Feeding America and worked at the national office where she was helping to provide financial resources and literacy to food banks across the country. And then an opportunity came to say, hey, what you doing up in Chicago doing all this good stuff from? You're from North Carolina, you should come home. And she did. So help me please welcome the president and CEO of the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina, Ms. Amy Barrows. And we have some folks, come on up, Amy, have a seat wherever you like, close to a mic, preferably. All right, the star of that video that you saw, the bald head guy. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of the toughest men I've ever met in my life. I mean, he reminds me of my grandfather that you cannot stop this guy at all. I think it was last year, several months ago, we had some things going on and I asked him to be a part of something. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna be there, you can count me in. We were going to a conference. You can count me in, I just gotta get this hip changed out first. Just getting the hip changed out. And the same day, he's calling me like, yeah, I'm up walking, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna go ahead and get the next one scheduled, because he got to get back on his bike and continue to ride 10 miles a day. But this man and this young man I met in Canita, and he had this vision for his community. He never saw themselves as helpless. He's always seen themselves as survivors. He saw himself in that community taking care of themselves. And it was his vision that he sold me on that made me say, I am gonna walk this journey with you. Please welcome the Reverend Richard Joyner. He wrote an article that went nationwide. He actually gave a speech that went nationwide that says, this is not an act of God. And please look it up. He's absolutely wonderful. One of his right hand, working with him at Canita, that has been there for many years, at his side, working with the youth, overseeing the distributions, overseeing the packing of bags. They've served thousands of families during COVID, and they are still running these programs very strong. Please welcome Ms. Evelyn Powell. Of course, as we talk about community and investing in community, we also have some folks that they don't work at the farm, but they are certainly in the community. They have members that work at their organization in the community, and they were saying, hey, we want to help. It's our dinner sponsor for tonight from Smithfield. Please welcome Mr. Neil Westerbeek. Now we also have the folks that, like Reverend Jonah, like to put their hand in the sand. These are some of our local farmers here that are the backbone of these communities. They are providing food. They weren't bringing it all the way to the food shuttle. They were taking it right down the street to the communities and the nonprofit organizations, right in their very own communities. So please help me welcome our farmers Coming up, number 1, Mr. Donald Hines. We also have Mr. Kelton Moore. And I can't forget this young man. He actually has a farm at a local high school. Can you believe that? He is training 10th, 11th graders to drive tractors as a part of their educational curriculum. And they're growing food for their own school. And not just their school, but for their school district. So when you talk about sustainability, the school district is paying them for the produce that they're growing at their school so they can reinvest those dollars into their agriculture program at that school. Come on up with Mr. Resident Fowler. All right, I'm gonna put that in your hand there. And we're just going to have a dialogue. And the thought about this came about because I recognized that long after we stepped back from this, Reverend Jordan would say, hey, we're gonna have the call on Tuesday night. If you can join us on the call, I'm like, sure, I'll join the call. This Evelyn sends the Zoom link out, and I hopped on the call, and I didn't have my camera on. And I was just listening, so they didn't know I was on the call. And after they opened up with the word of prayer, they started talking about it. Jordan said, anybody have anything they want to share? And then I began to hear some folks talking, and one of the gentlemen was an elder at a church that said, yeah, we put the raised beds in at the back of the church. I didn't think anybody was coming. Every time I went out there, I didn't see anybody. So I wasn't sure if it was working. Come to find out, they was coming out harvesting everything when I wasn't there. So they didn't want me to see them. And then I heard someone else saying yes. I had some family that came in from out of town. And we were gonna go out and eat on Sunday. And I took them over to the church and we got some collards. And we came back and we had Sunday dinner. It's like, wow. Then I heard someone say, you know what? Eating this fresh food, I do have a little bit more energy now. Energy to do what, Grandma? But yes, it's like, wow, these are just real stories of them just talking. And the great thing about it was when we say community, many of these folks don't live close to each other. They are spread out across counties, multiple counties. And so I want us to kind of kick this off with Pastor Joyner. And introduce yourself, please, sir, and just tell us what this means to you.
Gosh, my mom said I've been Richard long enough, Pastor, so Richard Joyner's good. But, what it really means that this morning with the SNAP benefits cut, with all the other cuts, this morning we're feeding 500 families without it. And so thank you. And for everybody up here on this panel and even out there, we couldn't do it without each other. I mean, I work with Mr. Donald Hines all the time. I'm coming to pick up this stuff, but I ain't sending no money. but what this really means for us to be in a food oasis, Mr. Wayne Williams and feeding the homeless shelter, it really means that community is stronger than government. And Ron, thank you so much. He chased us down with he chased us down. So I'm coming to do this video. You better be there. And so, and just my good friend that with us with the food bank in Eastern North Carolina. It is good to be able to send food out and not just have to bring it in. It is good to have 300 people working and not 300 people standing in line. It feels good. It feels good to see our 5-year-olds learning how to use food for medicine and how to reduce chronic disease from raised beds that we started with how many, Ron?
51
51, and now we're up to 300. You know?
Round of applause, yes.
So I'll say this, I grew up on the farm. Anybody remember them farm, them old pumps that you have to prime, that pour water in them? But once the water starts flowing, you got a lot of water. Ron primed us. He came and primed us. You know, Smithfield primed us. And once we got those raised beds out, they paid for that round. But the churches in the community have paid for 250 after that.
Wow.
And we're feeding ourselves. Yeah. And I'm excited about that.
And this is awesome, you know, and one of the most exciting things about this collaboration that some of you may not know is that with Feeding America, we all carve out our space and we have so many counties that each of us are responsible for. And Amy and I actually share 7 counties. The Food Bank of Central and Eastern serves 34 counties from Central all the way out to the coast and down to the South and South Carolina border. 34 counties across Eastern and Central North Carolina. And so I had to have a conversation because Pastor Jonah has friends all over Eastern and North Carolina, and many of which are outside of our service area. I think we have like 70 churches that are involved. And so that means I had to have a conversation with Amy to say, hey Amy, there are churches in your service area, some of them are your pantries that you're already serving, and here is what we're doing. And she was so wonderful to say, well, hey, here's what we do best. That's what you do best. Let's do it together. And so I know that Amy, you provide some TFAP to Community Family Life Center. What has this partnership mean to you and the partner agencies in your service area?
I mean, I think there's room right here. It's the power of partnerships. It's moving out. I love Food Oasis. It's moving out of that scarcity mindset of a food desert. And I think this year, if not any other year, I know I've been in food banking professionally for 13 years, but since I was about 8 years old in Anderson, South Carolina, I've been doing this work, and I've never known a normal year in food banking, but this has been an especially tough year, and I think it's really proven that we have to get out of our silos. We have to get out of this is mine, this is yours. And I know, throughout the pandemic, when there were resources flowing in, a lot of food banks, ours included, really started testing different things of how do we shorten the line, the root cause work. And I think what we've really learned this last year is we don't have to be everything, because we are not great at everything. But there's people like the Food Shuttle and Reverend Joyner and all the people on the stage that are uniquely qualified to do different things, and we're uniquely qualified to do things. And that is what it means to me, is really using each other's strengths and the community, the deep community relationships that the folks on this stage have, and the skills like the gardening and the growing that the Food Shuttle has, and really thinking about it, what's our unique superpower, what's theirs, and how do we combine them all to meet every need in our community.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I know you're hearing the 10,000 or 20,000 foot view of this, but during these breakout sessions, Amy has her team members here. I see Carter that's here. If you want to understand those details as to what does the food bank put in place so that we can ensure accountability to each other, that we can ensure that we are aligned and we're not competing. So there are some structures that we put in place. So we talk about partnership, but it doesn't happen without accountability. So I just want to put that out there that there's some underlying things here that you may want to pay attention to as we go out and go through this. And that's how we bring on partners like with Smithfield, with Reverend Joyner saying, hey, we want you to come out and we want to do a workshop. We want to teach people, you know, how to grow, how to do this. And Smithfield was one of the first individuals or corporations that we reached out to say, here's what's happening in our community, and we want to build raised beds. We want to be able to get these beds at people's homes, local churches, and at community centers. And Smithfield says, okay, Kate, here's $150,000. Do what you got to do. Why? What? I mean, like, how does that? Who does that?
We appreciate the opportunity to be a part of an organization like this, and it comes down to making healthy food accessible, right? We talked about that already here today. Connecting local agriculture, which we're deeply a part of, with nutritional security, right? And you know, we're honored to be a part of that journey. You know, through our Helping Hungry Homes programs and programs like this, we donate hundreds of millions of servings of food a year across the country. And so we're happy about the donations, but it's really about partnerships and developing partnerships in our communities. I work in the hog production division of Smithfield, so I get a chance to work with folks in the communities of Eastern North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia every day, our contract partners and our employees. And you know, those folks are deeply tied to the sustainability of the community through the sustainability of the food they produce on their farms every day. And so a partnership like this is natural for us in providing nutrition to the communities through programs like this, as well as the protein that we provide every day to the folks of the world. And so for us, it's a natural partnership to be a part of an organization like this and try to help communities out through the wonderful work the Reverend and others are doing in the local communities. It's really just a natural thing for us to be a part of. We're blessed to be a part of it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Are you hearing the key words here? You're hearing these words repeated: community, partnership. You're hearing this over and over again. And I'll tell you, it's a journey to get there because it just doesn't happen overnight. You know, we learn from our lessons and valuable lessons along the way. And we sometimes have some folks like Mr. Reginald Cotton here that don't mind correcting you when you put them in a bind. And so, Mr. Cotton, I know that when we first started this and talking with Pastor Joyner, and Pastor Joyner told me about you, and I'm like, you know what, we want to start purchasing produce from farmers, you know, and once again, that lived experience. You know, we did this 2 decades ago in Charleston, where we started that program where we were growing foods locally, is where they call theirs, and purchasing produce from farmers. And you're gonna hear what that looks like 2 decades later, by the way. However, I wanted to start it here, so I reached out to a counterpart of mine, Margaret, who you'll hear from later, and say, hey, do you have any of your old startup documents from 20 years ago? And of course she did. She had saved everything. And she forwarded that to me, and I started putting some stuff together, and I put together a little agreement to say, here's how much I'm going to pay you for your produce. And what did I come to you with, Mr. Cotton? Was it 7 cents a pound?
7 cents.
He was so grateful. So gracious. Mr. Cotton came from Halifax, County, and brought us 700 pounds, 800 pounds of some squash, and sent me the invoice. And I saw the invoice was like for almost $1,000 or whatever. I'm like, oh no, we said 7 cents a pound. I think the check was like $70, whatever the case was. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Brent, let me let you tell that story, Mr. Brent.
Good morning, and
Yes, sir.
good morning, and thank you all for allowing me to be here today. And these 2 gentlemen especially. I'm Reginald Cotton, Halifax County Schools Greenleaf Farm. I'm the farm manager and ag teacher. And about 30 years ago, we started growing produce on the playground. And I'm from the farm. I tell folks I'm from the back of the farm because
Be careful of this.
we used to do it all. I'm from Hobgood, North Carolina, down by Rocky Mount. But anyway, 8 years ago, we started operating under the Farm to School Federal Initiative. And I was put in contact with these two gentlemen right here. And we just sort of blossomed, and with their help, and between the two of them, it went from $70, as a matter of fact, I think it was $80. $80 for 800 pounds of squash. And in the last 2 years, they purchased $50,000 worth of produce. Please
There we go.
We are in the business of teaching students how to farm and to be self-sufficient because, as you may know, by 2050, they say it's going to be a worldwide food shortage. And so the politicians in D.C. have told all of the school systems, teach them how to farm, how to grow things for themselves. And I'll be happy to say to you, I think we're the largest school farm on the East Coast. Thank you.
We got some experienced farmers up here. I know we got Mr. Donald Hines up here who has blossomed under this program. Mr. Hines, what is this program meant to you?
Connecting with Interfaith Food Shuttle and Canado Family Farms prior to that, it's allowed me to feed more people. And for me, it's not about, though I'm a business, it's not about making money. It's never been about that for me. I'm retired, and that was one of my first things about going into farming. I did not want to have to rely on that for my own income. But I like the science of it. I like the end result, getting food on tables and homes. And so partnering with Interfaith Food Shuttle and Canado, I'm able to get more food out there to people, to the food banks and so forth. With more, we can do more, of course. And this partnership has certainly allowed me to get good, healthy food into the mouths and on tables of people here in our communities.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hines.